we have chrome ball there, right? Static. The camera is static. And when I look at the setting on the camera, as you might say, when I see the exposure on the camera, I don't know why you guys don't see it here. I think I should say that it shows you the exposure on off. Oh yeah, you can see it here, guys. You can see it here. So you see that. So when you do the filming, right? The exposure, as you will see, must be on the middle, right? So when you just half press the shutter button, half press the shutter button, it shows you the exposure. So like I start like to change it so that it comes right to the, like, you see I changed the speed and also the shutters. So like now the exposure is right in the middle on 0. So this is the first photo you take. So it's so that when you set up from here, it's very quick and fast. So I take a photo here, I make it darker, like 2 stops, take another photo, 2 stops, take another photo, 2 stops, take another photo. Then I come back, then I make it brighter, 1 photo, 2 stops brighter, 1 photo, 2 stops brighter, another photo, 2 stops brighter, and last photo. So I have, so basically what you saw is that we recorded the lighting situation on that chrome ball in multiple exposure conditions with HDR images. Okay. We have, so look at these photos that I have taken. So we have these photos. First of all, they're very high quality. So we have these photos like getting darker and darker and brighter and brighter. I got a bit of movement, which is not ideal, but that's fine. I use a software, so you can do it in Photoshop. Photoshop is not doing it well. There's a free software. You can download it at home as well, which I love it very much. It's a bit tricky to go around, but we're gonna go through how to make a HDR image out of the photos that we have taken in different exposure values and combine them together. So guys, let me just explain what is an HDR image. So what is HDRi, or high dynamic range image? So what is it? So basically, in one single photo, so let's say you have a photo here, right? And in one single photo, you have red, green, blue, right? You remember that. And for each one of them, usually in your mobile phone, you use 256 or 2 to the power of 8-bit memory to save data on it. So, but if this turns into 2 to the power of 32, that is almost like, it's just like massive amount of data. So a high dynamic range image is an image that has, like, you have low values, mid values, or information, and high values, all of them recorded. So why we need this when we go to Maya and want to do HDRi image? Because I change the lighting scenarios. I go from dark to bright. So I should be able to have massive amount of data there. So it is an image with a lot of exposure values. So as you saw in these images here, we had different exposure values from very bright to dark. So these are just different exposure values. So I just combined them all together in one single file. We'll call it HDR file. So new HDR image here. You just add the photos you got from your folder. So it's very interesting. You see that like it starts to read the exposure value out of the file. And if you realize, guys, these files format is CR2. It's not JPEG. I just recorded the camera raw. So as you can see here, it says that this is 0 and this is like how much of higher or lower exposure. So I press next. Here, like the first profile is fine, guys, and uncheck show, and then you get finish. Takes a bit of processing, and weirdly, you have to enlarge here. So we have, it gives us a very good indication that where is the range of the information you're gonna get. So you see that I got a range of information in this area. Okay, I'm gonna cut around it basically just to make sure only a sphere is included in the image. I think I'm fine with this, and I go here, edit, and I say crop to selection, and I get a new one. Okay, if you see, it's blurry because my hand, when I was taking photos, I was rushed, so it just, my hand shaked, so the camera shaked a bit. So that's why I say it must not shake. But you kind of see that the class, like kind of monitors and the lighting that the class has. So now what you have to do is just go to the edit, projective information. We move from mirror ball or chrome ball, mirror ball, to a polar destination and press OK. And ta-da, you got an HDR. And then you save it as an EXR format, which is a good format, or HDR format. I suggest HDR. I just call it WE633 class HDR. So we have the HDR photo. Okay, saved. How to use it? Let me just download show you a very interesting website to download some CG models, 3D scans. It's a website that has scanned objects of museums, some objects from different museums. They're very lovely objects. I like them very much. Let's grab something like this eagle. Is it the format we want? Yeah, it's OBJ. Good. I download it to the desktop. as well. OBJ. And unpack it. Okay, open Maya. So as easy as, like, let me just bring this geometry in so we have a reference to look at. This is our eagle. Make it smaller. Sweet. You just go to the Arnold rendering. So we either use Arnold or Redshift. I think Redshift is not loaded yet. It is installed, but it's not loaded yet. Okay, yeah. Anyway, but the way you do it pretty much the same. So I click on the AI Sky Dome, or like Dome Light in Redshift. You press Ctrl A, and you got this color. That's where you just click on the checker box, and then you click on the file, and you go and find that HDR image you just created. And here, so you see that, like, you can see the class here, there. So if I apply a like reflective shader on this, so I assign a new material, shader, a AI standard shader. I make it like very metallic, so like it reflects a lot of light. And if I press on the render, actually what I can do is before like, actually let's start rendering and then I'll show you what it is. So you see that, like, I click on the light on the HDR. So now you're gonna see the value of the exposure. So I'm gonna go like higher exposures, and I can rotate this so that I get like a proper lighting setup.